Hi guys, welcome to Credible Talk. I'm Aarica Mims.
And I'm Eric Hage. This is the podcast where we talk about all things commercial real estate and more.
We do. And can you believe that it is December? 2022 is almost over and the holidays are here. I mean, I can't believe it.
I'm glad 2022 is over with, and it's been quite a year. Today, we're really fortunate to be joined by our first guest on Credible Talk.
Wait, we actually have a guest?
We got somebody that would agree to come join us today. His name is Pleas Mitchell, and Pleas is a great friend of the company's, and Pleas is president of Balfour Beatty's Texas division. And Pleas, thank you for being here today. We really appreciate it.
Well, thank you for having me. Glad to be here.
So Balfour Beatty, as most of you already know and have already heard of them, they're one of the world's leading providers of general contracting and construction. I mean, anytime we hear of a big development in the works, Balfour Beatty is always, one of the top construction companies that are looking at the project. So plus you've been with Balfour for more than 30 years, I think 33 to be exact.
That is correct.
How did you end up in this wonderful world of construction?
I guess you could say I was born into it. My father was a general superintendent. We traveled all over the South with him building buildings, ended up in Dallas in 1970 and got to stay here until I moved to go to work with Balfour Beatty in 1989.
So that was when Aarica was born.
1989. No, that is incorrect. But that does make me younger, so thank you. That is correct. How many times did you move with your parents?
Before I was in the second grade, it was 14 times.
Okay.
So we saw a lot of, my poor sisters that are older saw a lot of different schools.
Yeah.
So your dad was really a road warrior.
The classic road warrior, yes.
Was that the impetus for you getting into construction? What was the reason that you actually got into the construction industry?
Well, I think it clearly had a lot to do with him. I mean, when I was old enough to walk, he started taking me on projects with him to go visit projects. My first job was an elevator operator. I think I was 6 years old, sat in the operator's
Safety
lap.
First.
Well, it was different then, to say the least, to have a 6-year-old kid on a 40-story building.
So you were playing on swing sets? You were on job sites?
I was on job sites with Dad every Saturday, which was a lot of fun. And I saw how much fun he had, the people he worked around, and it was just an interest of mine for forever. So, and he kind of helped me get into the business.
And so did you go to college and get a degree in construction management? Or?
No, I was thinking about being a lawyer, so I studied political science.
Twinsies.
That's
Eric
right.
Too.
That was my attempt to get into law until I realized I wasn't smart enough, and I'm sure you realized the same thing too.
My wife was smart enough to be a lawyer,
Good,
so
good.
that's good.
One in the family.
One in the family, that's right. In 1989, it was pretty tough in Dallas, Texas. So to get a job anywhere with a big company was a win. So my first job was in Pennsylvania on a prison on top of a mountain.
So they really liked you a lot if they sent you up to Pennsylvania.
Yes. So I was there for a year, then went into estimating, then went back on another job in West Virginia, back into estimating, another job in North Carolina. So a lot of traveling.
So what do you say to those young guys that are put on the job sites these days that are outside of their comfort zone and put out in some rural area, having done it before?
Well, luckily we don't do that much anymore because we have the luxury of being able to get most of our work in our geographies that we work in. But in the old days, I mean, you chased jobs wherever they were. Detroit, Nashville, you name it. I mean, that's where you went.
Even for a prison on top of the hill.
Well, and how you came in your graduating class is how you, when you accepted your offer, that was the order you went on a job.
Oh.
So you knew in estimating, if we win this job, that's the one I'm going to.
Oh,
and it could be anywhere. I mean, anywhere.
So did you try to inflate your estimating bids?
I might have. I didn't do good enough on the West Virginia job, that's for sure.
Yeah. Okay, so they put you out on the job sites in various locations, some great, some not so much,
right.
But great learning experiences. Obviously, it wasn't your great golf skills that got you to where you are today. So that being said, how did your career progress into where you are today?
Well, today I'm the president of the Texas division since 2018, 17 maybe. And I've had every position except finance and HR. I mean, I've had every estimating position. I ran our pre-con department for 2 years. Every operations position you can go through. So started as an office engineer through VP of Ops, SVP, and then now president. So in 33 years, you can get a lot done.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, Pleas, tell us a little bit about Balfour Beatty. Obviously, KDC has had the great fortune to work with Balfour Beatty on a number of awesome projects, Epic 1 and 2, really successful projects. JP Morgan, Liberty Mutual, millions of square feet of work. Tell us a little bit more about the company and what you guys focus on. And
well, generally we're a CM at risk builder. We do some design build. We're doing a 1,000-room hotel design build hotel in Broward County right now. So we did the Omni Hotel, which is a design build in downtown Dallas. So kind of focus on large commercial projects. However, we do have 2 other groups in North Texas that focus on K through 12 education and municipal work. And then we have an interiors group that's all they do is corporate interiors. So from a $100,000 job to a $100 million interior fit out.
And that's really important because at the end of the day, having the ability to stay in some of these campuses, working hand in hand with these clients, post occupancy, just keeps fostering those relationships.
Yeah, I think we're still at JP Morgan.
Wow.
Helping them with stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, well, then after that job, we built their C-suite headquarters in the Hunt building, which was a really cool job also. Yeah.
So I don't want to go back to the pandemic too much, but I do have to ask the question. At the start of the pandemic, things in the construction business were new to so many people on the leadership side, management side of construction companies. You were navigating a lot of different areas at the same time, risk, safety, concerns from your folks. Can you kind of walk us through how you formed a lot of new practices at that stage and where we are today with the business? Just to kind of give us a flavor of kind of how things have evolved since the pandemic.
Sure. Well, it obviously took a lot of us by surprise. We had to quickly adjust to not only CDC guidelines, but Dallas County guidelines, Collin County guidelines. I mean, every county had their own.
Different guidelines.
Austin had their own guidelines. So we had to adjust to all those pretty quickly. But we were very, very successful. I mean, we got very innovative in how we could take temperatures quickly, how we could get people in and out of the jobs, how we could get people up and down the building quicker because you could only put so many people in the elevator. So we navigated that pretty well, I would say. Our business is different than most because we have project teams and then we have teams that work in the office specifically.
Yeah.
So, our project teams couldn't work from home. That wasn't an option for them. They have to be there on site managing the subcontractors. So, we felt our leadership team felt it was important that we got everybody in the office as soon as we could, to not only just from a collaborative standpoint, but to really respect and show support to our field teams that while they're out there with a mask on 8 hours a day,
surrounded by hundreds
in
of
100-degree weather.
Mm-hmm.
But we also had to navigate. I mean, because there were families whose kids couldn't go to school, so there were lots of things we had to accommodate. But I would say everyone that came back to the office as soon as they could.
And have you seen those same practices kind of shift a little bit since the pandemic's?
Some of them have become standard practices now that are just better for the workers. More hand washing stations, more toilets, more things like that we're just like, well, why don't we just keep doing this?
Yeah.
It's not that expensive,
Right.
And the workers really appreciate it. And today, on job sites, it's a war for talent to get people to come to your project. You want it to be clean, you want it to be sanitary, because they can choose where they want to work.
It's a war for talent in the, commercial office industry and on the construction side.
It is true.
Yes, it is.
Well, let's shift gears for a minute. This is an interesting inflationary environment right now, and it feels like construction costs are raising by the minute, if not the second. And what are the main reasons for these drastic construction cost increases?
Well, a lot of it has to do, as everyone's heard, with, electronic components and chips that are coming from China and other places that have been limited. So that's been a huge part of it. There's also been a ton of construction going on in even through 20 and 21 for rebar, ready mix, kind of commodity materials. We're still at a premium. Gas prices didn't help, and diesel is probably one of my biggest concerns right now of where the diesel market is and if there's going to be one soon. And you think about everything in our business runs on diesel. Everything that comes to the job site, everything, the heavy equipment, everything runs on diesel. So that's a huge concern for us right now.
So while you're saying, maybe the office sector, due to the capital markets and lending environments, be a little bit different, and potentially the same with the industrial sector, you're seeing a lot of other sectors like the data center market and manufacturing really take a ramp up, multifamily. And so what you're saying is that you're getting sort of this evening out of costs due to the fact that the other sectors are making up for what's going on in commercial right now.
Right.
And others. As a customer of construction projects, right?
We have a few construction projects we would like to kick off really soon.
Yes.
I know. Hurry every chance you get.
Right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Hurry up, let's do this.
There's one thesis where people think that if you delay the project long enough, you might get better pricing. There's other thoughts that go get pricing today and get it fixed and get going and put the dagger in the pricing.
Right.
One, kind of where do you stand with that? And secondly, what are some of the things that a developer or an owner can be doing more proactively to get in front of these price increases that we've been seeing?
Not an easy question. Because we're in
Trick
this
question.
Yeah. We've been in this do loop for 2 years of the price comes in, it's too high. We VE the project back down. It takes 4 months to get it done. We put it back out. It's at the same price it was when we took everything out. And, then we've just been, and then the closing date moves and the subs don't know if the job's actually going to go, so they lose interest. I mean, it's just been a terrible cycle. I've never seen a cycle like this before where a owner can't tell us when the closing is.
Sure.
Because they're like, well, you tell me. When is the pricing going to be right?
It's very cyclical.
So we've been chasing our tails on several projects for probably 18 months to 2 years. Some things I would say have leveled out. We've seen rebar go down a little bit, but that's really it. I don't see a dramatic decrease in costs. I've never seen it before. I mean, they'll level out.
Yeah, I kind of equate it to like a little bit of a seesaw where you take the industrial market, for example, and during COVID, there was such a demand due to Amazon's growth and take any big industrial development company and such a demand for steel decking and joist packages that you couldn't get your hands on decking and joist packages for 9 months up to a year, and all of a sudden those costs and the line items would triple or quadruple within a 1 year span. And so now kind of things are starting to level back down again, but that's getting offset by a rise in concrete prices.
Right. And labor.
Laborers.
Yeah, when I think it was probably 18 months ago, maybe 2 years, we chased an industrial job. We don't do much of that, but we chased one. And Amazon had bought every joist and every deck that was being manufactured in the U.S. I mean, they just went and took it all.
And they had the queue with the Volcrafts. And
Right. I mean, you just couldn't get it. Now, they've shut everything off. They're not building anything.
You can get it now.
You can get it now.
It's a little better price now.
Yeah.
It was fun while it lasted
That's
for them.
right.
Have you seen that the construction timelines or the durations increasing as well?
We haven't seen that as much, but most of our projects we've been doing lately have large excavations, and that's why it seems like they take longer
And on tight sites.
on tight sites.
We're quite familiar with that.
So you have to, if you're going 4 levels down, or some projects that might be 8 levels down on tiny sites, it takes a while to get, you can be 18 months just to
go
get
up and
down
down,
and
or
back
down
up
and
to
up.
grade. Yeah, back up to grade and then build the building.
So are you having to get more creative with some of the techniques that y'all are using?
I built a building in 1998 on the toll road, the old Wilcox development jobs, J.P. Morgan 1, 2, and 3. And it was a 13-story to 14-story building with a 1 million square foot garage. We built it in 15 and a half months. And it would take about the same time now.
Because it's detached parking.
It's detached parking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was almost 1 million square feet of office, but with a cast-in-place garage.
What are you saying, that construction technology and practices haven't advanced enough to...
Well, we have some healthy discussions on schedules. Number one, I've done it before, okay?
Yeah.
Literally, I've done it. I know
Yeah.
how long it takes to build an office building. And they always, I always say a project manager's never had enough people or enough time to get a job built.
Yeah.
And they always do. They
Yeah.
always do. This is impossible. It can't be done. And they always get it done. But no, I roofing was a concern for a while, especially in our education group. But that seems to have eased up a little bit. And then, like I said, with these deep excavations, you have time to get generators and chillers
plenty of
and
time
all
to
the
order,
equipment to get ordered.
Well, top down as an example. So top-down construction,
Are we talking about convertible tops or?
convertible tops. Yes, that's exactly what it is. You guys recently completed a high-profile project where you did top-down construction on Clyde Warren Park. That's an example of, I think,
Right.
being creative
Yep.
and how you would approach a project that's very complicated, has deep excavation. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, it takes a special site. You have to have enough room to be able to excavate back under the building. So I'll try to describe it as well as I can, but basically what you do is you drill the pier, you go 1 level down, then you drill the piers all the way through the overburden, through the 3 levels of garage inside a casing. Then you pull the casing, then you come in and excavate. While you're going up, you're excavating out underneath the building.
I feel like I need a diagram for this.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool. I don't think it. I
And
think,
safety has got to be of the utmost concern
I mean,
in that type of
right. And then it looks
construction.
really weird with the 40-foot columns holding up
Yeah.
a building. But that, like I said, that had a residential tower on it as well, and that wasn't as critical as the tenant that was going in the building, and they wanted to buy some time in the schedule, and that was a way we could do that.
As you look back at 2022, what are some of the highlights of this past year, and what are some of the lowlights?
I would say some of the highlights for me is, our team's really hanging in there on the commercial side because they all finished their projects in 21 and early 22. So they've been working on some ongoing projects. But, I have a theory. The longer people have to prepare to start a project, the more successful it is.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an investment on Balfour because they're not on jobs getting paid for, but it will pay off.
Yeah.
Sure.
That they'll be better planned, they'll have better sub, all that will be better. So I'm proud of that we haven't lost people through that period because they get bored and they get scared
Yeah,
and they
and
get
that-
edgy and they're
yeah.
like, oh my God,
I think that says something for the company also.
Yeah. And we've been very intentional to keep, we just got our recent engagement scores, the highest it's ever been,
Oh, wow.
which we're really proud of through 2022.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I would say, our K through 12 market continues to just boom in the northern counties, and our interiors group is coming back. So that's
So northern counties like,
Denton, Collin, those are our major
sure.
education. We do
Sure.
some in Fort Worth, but that's about it.
Yeah, and I also, you guys are really doing some of the flagship projects across North Texas, and so a lot of these big project folks are they're accustomed to coming off a project and having another project in hand to start working on something. And so when they don't, when you're not as busy, it becomes even more important to engage with those employees to make sure that they know that you've got something, you have them in mind, you've got them taken care of, right? You're looking out for them, down the road. We're already pre-planning on something else. And I think you guys have always done a great job with that.
Well, I had the same experience that J.P. Morgan I was telling you about. I built the first building, and then they weren't going to start the other two for a year, and they paid for me to basically sit in the office for a year, and I almost lost my mind. I mean, it was.
It didn't matter that you were getting paid. You weren't being productive in your opinion.
It just didn't feel right. I mean, I helped out with estimating and stuff, but I just felt. And I know that's how they feel.
Twiddling your thumbs.
Yeah. So
ready for a project.
But luckily, everybody in the office has a job that they're working on that we're just trying to get started.
Well, good. Well, wrapping up this segment of the episode, we're almost in 2023. If you had one word to describe your outlook for 2023, what would it be?
Cautiously optimistic. That's 2 words.
I like that. we can be good with 2 words. Okay?
It is.
Okay. Well, we also can't end on not having just a totally different holiday theme. It's almost Christmas, so
But you also know Pleas is a cautious optimist anyway as a person. So.
Dark cloud.
Yeah, no dark clouds in 2023, please.
Right, okay.
Okay, so we're going to do a quick holiday question.
Oh, boy.
Since we are almost there, Christmas lights are out, presents are under the tree. We're just going to ask a few questions, and you just tell us your answers.
Okay.
Real tree or fake tree?
Fake. Yeah.
Fake for sure.
Yes. I'm allergic to everything that grows.
So you don't play any golf?
I take a lot of allergy medicine.
Does Santa wrap or unwrap gifts?
Unwrap.
Real handicap or fake handicap?
Real index is a 6'1".
Okay. So pretty good golfer.
I don't know what that means, but okay. Favorite Christmas drink? Eggnog?
Nah. Vodka soda.
Okay. Year round. Year round.
It's been a tough year, Erica.
I know. All right. Well, I think you guys should go out and start Christmas shopping for your wives, probably.
We should.
Yeah.
I'll give you some ideas here in a minute. Okay. Well, everyone, thanks for tuning in. This is our last episode of 2022, and a big thanks to Pleas for being our first interviewee. I can't believe
thank
he
you,
agreed.
Pleas. Thank you for bearing with us.
Thank you for having me.
We enjoyed the
It
conversation.
was fun. Yeah.
Good. I'm glad you had fun.
Right.
Well, on that note, happiest of holidays to everyone, and we will see you all in 2023.
Thank you.
Thanks.